It is just over 40 years since the Transformers animated series was first broadcast in America. After Optimus Prime and his courageous Autobots blasted onto screens, they've become a cultural icon that's created a huge movie franchise and of course spawned some highly collectible toys. However, their transformation into a global toy line started with two potentially little known series of toys from Japan. The story begins with a range of toys released under the Microman umbrella. It's made by Takara between 1974 and 1984. Measuring 9.5 centimeters tall, the Microman will build as being the actual size of cyborgs known as micros. As well as being a cool idea, there was more practical reasons for them being so small. Space was a premium in smaller Japanese homes, so having micro figures with more conservative playsets would help them be more attractive to space-conscious parents. In 1981, Takara produced a range of Microman toys, imaginatively called New Microman, and within this series were seemingly ordinary items such as cassette tapes, watches, and microscopes that could transform it into other forms to help the Micromen in their fight against the evil Acroyears. Some of the Microman toys were released outside of Japan by US toy company Mego under the new name of Micronauts. Mego produced the Micronauts between 1976 and 1980 before its eventual close in 1982. Alongside the Microman range, Takara Tomy introduced Diaclone, a line of transforming robots that could change into more exciting secondary forms, including sleek cars and futuristic jets, some mighty dinosaurs. These robots were the brainchild of Shoji Kawamori and Kazutaka Miyatake, two visionary designers who would later go on to create the popular anime series Macross, which also heavily featured transforming robots. In a nod to Microman, each Diaclone came with a corresponding pilot figure who could control the robot from a cockpit or command centre. However, while Diaclone was a success in Japan, it failed to capture the same level of interest in the United States. Thankfully, Hasbro recognised the potential of the transforming robot concept and acquired the rights to Diaclone in 1983. Under the leadership of marketing executive Jerome Hines, Hasbro sought to make Diaclone into a more relatable and engaging toy line for the American children. The pilot concept was removed, as it was deemed unnecessary for the American market. The line was renamed Transformers, emphasising the robot's ability to, transform into various vehicles. And as they say, keep it simple, stupid. However, there was a slight problem. Although the robots were cool, they didn't have a compelling backstory or relatable characters. Hasbro needed toys that would capture the imagination of kids and have them battling out epic skirmishes between the forces of good and evil in their living rooms. Hasbro turned to Marvel Comics, a company renowned for its captivating storytelling and iconic characters. Marvel's editor-in-chief, Jim Shooter, was tasked with creating the overall storyline for the Transformers. Interestingly, Shooter has written that Marvel wasn't Hasbro's first choice. They previously had a concept devised by DC, which Shooter described as a pathetic and wrong-headed to an unbelievable degree. Instead, Shooter envisioned a world called Cybertron, home to two factions of robots, the Autobots and Decepticons, who were locked in an ongoing battle for control of their planet. The Autobots, led by Optimus Prime, represented the forces of good, courage and selflessness, while the Decepticons, led by Megatron, embodied ambition, tyranny and conquest. Even giving them names was a huge contrast to the original Diaclone line. For example, Optimus Prime had previously been called Battle Convoy. Shooter enlisted the help of writer Bob Budiansky to develop the personalities and backstories of the individual Transformers characters. Budiansky drew inspiration from various sources, including mythology, history, and popular culture, to create a diverse cast of characters with distinct personalities, motivations, and relationships. Hasbro finally had a reason for the Transformer robots to exist, and more importantly, fight each other. In 1984, Hasbro launched the Transformer line, alongside a TV series produced by Sunbow Productions and Marvel. The initial range of toys produced between 1984 and 1993 has become known as Generation 1, and features iconic characters like Optimus Prime, Soundwave, Hot Rod, etc. As you might expect, the original line of Transformers are the ones that typically sell for the big money. In fact, there's even a healthy second-hand market for the weapons, which had a tendency to get lost in the back of the sofa by enthusiastic kids fighting it out. For reference, a job lot of various different weapons and wings sold on eBay for £120, so it's worth keeping an eye out for random bits and pieces and swap meets. When it comes to full toys though, in June this year, boxed and graded Optimus Prime sold at auction for more than $10,000, which is definitely at the high end. On eBay you can expect to pay upwards of £500 for a box example, dependent upon the condition. Meanwhile, Optimus Prime's arch enemy, Megatron, isn't commanding such a high price. In October 2022, Heritage Auctions sold a graded example for $3,000, and eBay prices are similar to that of Optimus Prime. The incredible success of Transformers means that Hasbro is still producing new toys today, which means you may be thinking of picking some up for a future investment. Of course, it's always hard to tell what will become a collectible of the future, but there has been some interest in the Hasbro's new Studio Series 86 line. These Transformers are designed to look like those as seen in the 1986 Transformers animated movie, and just over 20 have been released so far. Although prices are variable, one has certainly caught his eye is the Studio Series 86 Grimlock. Originally priced at $54.99, it's already commanding up to £200 on eBay. When Takara first released the Microman and Diaclone toys, it's unlikely it could have been imagined what a juggernaut they would have become. Now, even 40 years on from their original release, Transformers are a household name that continues to capture the imagination of kids and collectors alike.
The interesting thing is they call it pyro processing, but it's a molten salt process. They're dissolving this thing in a molten salt, and they're doing electrochemistry on it. Why don't they call it molten salt?